first topic? You can just unmute yourself and talk. First topic. What is the first topic? Okay. Then we shall only concentrate on main topics. So in chapter 1, what are the main topics? First thing is Selenium WebDriver architecture, correct? Here is where your actual concept starts. So Selenium WebDriver architecture. If somebody asks you to explain Selenium WebDriver architecture, you have to tell them the hierarchy and what are all the methods present in that. Okay. What is the hierarchy? The supermost interface is Selenium, search context, correct? Search context is the supermost interface which has two methods, find element and find elements, that you have to say. Then after that, WebDriver is the sub interface of search context, okay, which has 11 abstract methods of its own. And since it inherits two methods, since it inherits the properties of search context, total it will be having 13 abstract methods, and you have to name the methods. Okay. Then after that, you have to say remote WebDriver. So remote WebDriver is the implementing class of WebDriver interface, that you have to tell clearly. Okay. Then after that, Chrome driver and Firefox driver are the two classes which extend to remote WebDriver. Okay, all the other browser specific classes extend to remote WebDriver. Okay, apart from this, we have JavaScript executor. So WebDriver extends to JavaScript executor interface. This JavaScript executor interface has two abstract methods. One is execute script and second one is execute async script. Then after that, take screenshot is one more interface we have in this architecture. So WebDriver interface extends to this take screenshot interface as well. So it has one abstract method, get screenshot as. This should be your answer. Understood, guys? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is what you have to explain about Selenium WebDriver architecture. Okay. Yes. Okay, guys. Then second thing immediately is they might ask what are WebDriver methods. Okay. So you can say, since WebDriver has many other methods but we have only studied, it has 11 abstract methods, right? So you have to list all those methods. What are the WebDriver methods? This is the first question chance we have. You have to answer it that flow. Second one is WebDriver methods. You have to say what is this WebDriver. WebDriver is an interface and it extends to search context, which is the supermost interface in Selenium WebDriver architecture. It has different methods like get current URL, get page source, and get title. Then get window handle, get window handles, and it has switch to method, manage method, navigate method, close, quit. And what else we have, guys? Did I miss anything? Yeah, get I told.
Navigate, switch to.
Yeah, navigate switched also I have told. So these are all the methods which we have. That's you have to tell. If they ask you to explain WebDriver methods, give a one-line description of each method. Like get. Get is to uh, navigate to the application. Okay, then get current url, it gets the url of the current web page. Get title gets the current title of the web page. Like that, one line description you can give. Get window handle, why is it used? In order to get the parent window address. Get window handles, it is used to get the parent and child window addresses. And what we have, quit and close. The most important thing is quit and close, guys. So what is the difference between quit and close is the popular question. Okay, quit and close difference. So quit method is used to quit all the associated tabs in the browser. Okay, it will close all associated tabs or windows in browser, whereas closes only the first browser. Okay, parent browser, it closes only parent browser. But what is happening in the newer versions is whenever you use this close method, it is giving what exception, guys? Java .NET socket exception. That is the reason though we use close method, we should also use quit method. That you have to explain. Understood, guys? Understood? Okay. So when they ask about WebDriver methods, you have to say what WebDriver is. WebDriver is an interface which extends search context, the supermost interface in Selenium WebDriver architecture. Then, what are the methods? Get. We have 11 abstract methods. And all these 11 abstract methods, single line definition. That's it. Brief. Very briefly, you have to tell everything. Yes. So then they will be asking what is the difference between quit and close. If they ask difference between quit and close, then you can say quit method is used to close all the associated tabs or windows in the browser, whereas close method is used to close only parent browser. But in recent version, if you are trying to give only close, then it is throwing you this exception. So that is the reason, though we use close, we have to also use quit. That is what you have to tell. Then fourth one, after WebDriver, we have locators. So when they ask, tell me about locators, you have to say locators are static elements of by class where by is an abstract class. Okay. Then after that, why we go for locators? We go for locators in order to locate an element in the web page. In order to locate an element in the web page, we use these locators. So what are locators? Locators are static elements of by class, whereas by is an abstract class. That should be your first answering style. Then after that you have to say, I will write what is locator, why we go for locator, types. Okay, when you say types, you have to say there are different types of locators like ID, name, link text, partial link text. Okay, then CSS selector. Actually I missed here two things: class name, tag name, and XPath. So id and name, if we have attributes as id and name, id or name, we can use these locators. Okay, link text and partial link text are used only for links. Okay, so no need to give the syntax and usage. I gave it to you because I want you to do the programming perfectly. Okay, so yes, link text and partial link text are used only for links. So in link text, sometimes the text can be lengthy. So that is the reason we go for partial link text. That explanation is enough, guys. Then CSS selector, here you have to give syntax because this have syntaxes, right? Tag name is equal to attribute name is equal to attribute value. Okay, then class name and tag name are not used individually, but they are used in CSS or XPath locators. Okay, because using class name and tag name, there can be n number of matching elements. Okay, since using class name and tag name, we have n number of matching elements. That is the reason why we use class name or tag name in CSS selector or XPath. We will not use it individually. Okay, then XPath, then come to XPath. Okay, in XPath, we go to the next page. In XPath, then you have to tell about XPath. XPath means unknown path of HTML tree structure. Unknown path of HTML tree structure is XPath. So then you have to say absolute. It has two types, absolute XPath, okay, and relative XPath. Okay, absolute XPath means traversing from parent to immediate child using forward slash. Relative XPath means traversing from any parent to particular child using double forward slash. Okay, since absolute path can be very lengthy, that is the reason we go for relative XPath. You have to explain these points, guys. So after that, using relative XPath, now we have different XPath expressions. Okay, so XPath expressions. So what are the different XPath expressions? You have to start saying XPath by attributes. Now tell the syntax, that's it. Double forward slash, tag name, tag name, attribute at the rate, attribute name is equal to attribute value. Okay, then simply give all the XPath by text function. You can say just give the tag name, text function is equal to text value. Okay, then third one, XPath by contains. Give the syntax, double forward slash, tag name, contains, attribute name, attribute value, and for text function also. Okay, then fourth one is XPath by group index. XPath by group index You just give it as XPath expression and position value. Okay. Then fifth one is XPath by by traversing. Okay. In XPath by traversing, again we have two types. I'll just show you. Otherwise, you can just say XPath by traversing and the three steps. What are the three steps to identify this XPath by traversing, guys? First one, you have to identify what?
Static element and write the XPath, common
Yes.
parent, then dynamic element and write the XPath.
Yes, static element, then common parent, common parent, and finally uh, you have to write the tag name and position. Tag name and position of dynamic element. Correct? These three steps, if you tell, it is enough, guys. Okay, don't no need to tell all the XPath, independent, dependent XPath and XPath by access. It is not required as of now. If you tell, it is fine. Okay, but these are the points which you shouldn't miss. When I say what are locators, you have to explain all these things. Locators, what is locator? First of all, locators are static elements of by class. By is an abstract class. Why we go for locator means because in order to locate an element on web page, we will be using locators. Then we have different types of locators like ID, name, link text, partial link text, class name, tag name, CSS selector, XPath, all these things you have to say. So ID and name are used whenever we have the attributes as ID and name. Link text and partial link text are used for links. And CSS selector, we have the syntax like double forwards. We have the syntax like tag name within the square brackets, attribute name is equal to attribute value. And we have XPath. You have to say what is the disadvantage of CSS selector when you come to XPath. So in CSS selector, attributes are mandatory and they should be of one matching. That is the reason we go for XPath. Okay. So what are different XPath expressions? XPath, what is XPath? XPath is unknown path of HTML tree structure. We have absolute XPath and relative XPath. Absolute XPath is used to traverse from parent to immediate child using forward slash. And this can be lengthy. That is the reason we go for relative XPath. In relative XPath, we can traverse from any parent to particular node using double forward slash. Then in relative XPath, we have different XPath expressions like XPath by attributes, XPath by text function. You have to just read out the syntaxes. For XPath by traversing, if you tell in XPath by traversing, we find the XPath using these three steps. If you tell this much, it is enough. Or if I ask you about XPaths only exclusively, then you have to tell what is XPath, what are the two types of XPaths we have, absolute and relative XPath, then XPath expressions of relative XPath. There you can explain XPath by traversing. Okay, all the things are same. In XPath by traversing, in XPath by traversing, you can say I have two types, independent and dependent. Dependent XPath in which I have forward traversing. Did I tell you this, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, forward traversing and backward traversing. Okay, forward traversing, we do it using forward slash. Using forward slash. Backward traversing, we do using forward slash dot dot. Where is that? Dot dot. Okay. Then second one we have XPath by access. I have given you all the access, right? So parent, child, then ancestor, descendant, Then we have sibling functions. If you are interested, if you are confident about this, only then talk about these guys. Otherwise, even if you don't talk, that is not a problem. Okay, because this is advanced concept, I already told you. In sibling functions also we have following, sibling, and preceding sibling. Okay, then we have preceding and following. Okay, so now you can say in XPath by traversing also we have two types again, independent and dependent XPath, in which it in turn in which it has two more types like forward traversing. The forward traversing is traversing from parent to immediate child, that we do using single forward slash. Backward traversing is traversing from child to immediate parent, that we do using single forward slash dot dot. Okay, then after that we have XPath by access. In XPath by access we have parent child. Parent means traversing to immediate parent. Child means traversing to immediate child. Ancestor means traversing to any parent from that particular node. Descendant means traversing to any child from that particular node. Then sibling functions, we have two sibling functions, following and preceding sibling. The nodes which are at same level under same parent. Nodes at same level at same parent. Those are called sibling functions. Following means the nodes at the same level but below that particular node. Nodes at the same level which is above that particular node is preceding sibling. Preceding and following means preceding in the sense the nodes at the same level but different parent. Following means nodes at the same level. This is above, this is below. Okay, nodes at the same level above but different parent. Following means nodes at the same level below but different parent. That you have to say. This thing, guys, if you are only confident enough, then you have to tell this one. Otherwise, please don't tell this one. This is advanced concepts you will be learning in your advanced Java. It's not advanced Selenium. Okay, if you tell this is an added advantage. If you tell this, it is an added advantage. Or else, if you neglect it also, not a problem. Okay, so this is about locators. Next we have, what is the next topic we have? Synchronization. Synchronization. Now you can say, what is synchronization? What is synchronization, guys? Matching, Selenium. You have to first answer. What is, explain about synchronization. What are all the weights you have used in your Selenium? That, or what are implicit and explicit weights? All these questions, same answer, you have to start with synchronization. What is synchronization? Matching the Selenium speed with application speed is called synchronization. Why we go for synchronization? Because sometimes the application takes time to load, which is why we might get some exceptions like no such element exception, timeout exception. That is the reason we will be matching the speed of our Selenium with application. Okay, that you have to tell. Then after that, types of Selenium weight. Types of Selenium weight. Okay, there are actually 4 types, but only 2 types will be using more. So you have to say implicitly weight. Implicitly weight. In implicitly weight, give syntax. Give syntax first, then flowchart. Flowchart you have to explain. Okay. Also drawbacks. Okay. What is the drawback of implicitly weight? Let us start with syntax. Syntax, what is the syntax of this, guys? Syntax is driver dot manage dot, I'm not right, driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait, correct? That is the syntax. Duration of seconds. Okay. Flowchart. What is the flowchart? You have to explain that flowchart. Whenever we give implicitly wait, it will search for the element in HTML tree structure. If element is found, it will return the address. Otherwise, it checks if the time, specified time is over or not, is done or not. If it is done, then it will throw no such element exception. Otherwise, it will internally wait for 500 milliseconds or zero point 0.5 seconds, which is called as polling period. Guys, this particular names are very very important. Polling period. Okay, and it goes back to and it again goes back, repeats the cycle again, goes back, searches for the element in the tree structure, and this process repeats until the element is found or the time is over. Okay, specified time is over. What is the drawback? It will only synchronize find element and find elements method. That is the drawback. Okay, next one is explicitly wait. In explicitly wait, again, you start with syntax. Then you have to explain flowchart. Okay, this doesn't have drawbacks. Okay, you have to explain like this, guys. Understood? So what is synchronization, or what are different Selenium wait statements you have used in your project, or how do you handle this exception? I mean, server or network issues. Sometimes they might ask. Then you can say, I will use synchronization. Okay, that you can say. Okay. No, so what is synchronization? You have to explain. Synchronization is nothing but matching the Selenium speed with application speed. Because why? That comes why. Okay, because sometimes what happens, because of internet issues, the application might be still loading, whereas our Selenium program runs faster. So, which is why we might get exceptions like no such element exception or timeout exception. In order to handle that situation, we will be giving some Selenium wait statements. We will be synchronizing it. So there are two types of Selenium wait statements which we use for synchronization: implicitly wait and explicitly wait. In implicitly wait, this is the syntax. Flow chart, you have to explain the flow chart. Then drawback, it will only synchronize find element and find elements. Whereas explicitly wait synchronizes all the WebDriver methods, including find element and find elements. Okay, so you have to give syntax and you have to explain flowchart and what is the exception it throws. Exceptions are very very important. This is no such element exception. This is timeout exception. That much you have to explain, guys. Okay, then next topic is what is it? Web element. What are web element? What is a web element? What are generally the question will be what are web element methods? Okay, then you have to answer web element. Web elements are the elements which appear on the web page. Okay, and web element is an interface which is used to perform. Web element is an interface which contains methods to perform actions on particular web element. Okay, so what are all the methods we have? The methods in web element are categorized into actions, getters, and validations. I'm sure that you guys know this, but this is how you have to answer. Yes. Okay, in actions we have send keys. Send keys, click, clear, submit. Okay, getters. What are the getters we have? Get location, get location, get size, get text. Yes, get text. Then what is the other thing we have? Get attribute. Okay, so you can just read, give one line description of all these things. When they say what are different web element methods, then you start with what is a web element. Web element, the elements which appear on the web page is called web element, and web element is an interface which provides us with various methods in order to perform actions on web elements. Okay, then the methods of web element are categorized into actions, getters, and validation. In actions, we have send keys to pass the data to web element, click to click the web element, clear to clear the text, on that particular element. Submit also, yeah. Difference between click and submit is the famous question, guys. So submit is used only when we have attribute type is equal to submit, and it is used only for forms. Okay, whereas click is a generic method. Click is a generic method which is used to perform click action on a web element. Okay, then we have getters. Get location, to get the location, get size, to get the size of the particular web element, dimensions of the particular web element, get text, to get the text on that particular web element, get attribute, it is used to get the attribute value of that particular web element. Okay, then validation is displayed, is displayed is used to check if that particular element is displayed or not. Is enabled is used to check if that particular web element is enabled or not, like buttons. Okay, then is selected, this is used for checkboxes if that particular element is selected or not. For that purpose we use is selected. This much you have to explain. You can say for simple question, do I need to explain all this? Yes, you have to explain. Only then they will understand what are all the methods you are well versed with. I mean, you have used, if you are using it continuously, only then they can feel that you have expertised in this particular thing, right? So that is why you have to mention all these things. Okay. So next, after web elements, so our chapter 1 is done. Correct? Correct, guys? Yes. So in chapter 2, handling web elements, correct? Handling web elements. In this, don't know what all they can ask. Okay. First one is auto suggestions. How do you handle auto suggestions if they ask that question? Then you have to tell. Don't explain them what is auto suggestions because they already know. Okay. So what is how do you handle this auto suggestions? Means I handle auto suggestions using find elements method. Okay, and the return type of this find elements method is list of web element. Okay, what happens actually here is this find elements method will store the references of all these auto suggestions appearing on the screen in this particular list. That is how I handle the auto suggestions. Like that you have to say. Okay, then mouse over, mouse actions they ask. Okay, how do you handle all the mouse actions? What are all the different mouse actions? You have to say first. We have different mouse actions like mouse hovering, mouse hovering, right click, double click, drag and drop. These are different mouse actions we have. So in order to handle all these mouse related actions, I use actions class. Okay. What are different, how do you handle mouse actions will be your question guys. So what you have to say, the different mouse actions I are mouse hovering, right click, double click and drag and drop. Okay, so in order to handle all these mouse actions, I use actions class. And you have to also mention the package. Why is it not coming? I use actions class. This actions class we have to import from which one, guys? What is the package that you have to import this actions class? Anybody
Selenium
quickly?
interaction package.
Yes, Selenium interactions package. So this particular Selenium dot interactions package. You have to mention this package. Okay, then you have to say for mouse hovering. For mouse hovering, I use move to element method. Okay, then for right click, I use context click method. Okay, then for double click, I use double click method. We have double click method. Then for drag and drop, we have drag and drop method. Okay, and there is a default method which enables all these methods. That default method is perform method. Okay, that you have to answer. So your interview question will be, how do you handle mouse actions? So you have to say, these are the different mouse actions I have: mouse hovering, right click, double click, drag and drop, all these things. So in order to handle all these actions, I will go for actions class, which is present in selenium.interactions package. So in order to do mouse hovering, I use move to element method, right click, context click method, double click method, drag and drop method. All these methods are non-static methods. Okay, all these methods are non-static methods. So that is why I will create an instance of actions class. Okay, that much. And the default method I have is perform method, which facilitates all these methods. Okay, which facilitates the execution of all these methods. That is what you have to answer. Understood, guys? Then, did you all understand how to answer? Yes? Okay. Then, okay, guys. So, then next one is how do you handle drop downs? How do you handle drop downs? How do you handle drop downs? I handle drop down. In order to handle drop downs, we have a class called select class. Very good. We have a class called select class which is inside the package. Which package? What is the package we have, guys, in select class? Selenium support, right? Yes? Yeah, Selenium support package. I use select class which is present in Selenium support package. Selenium support package. Okay, in this I have different methods. I can select the drop down by using one of the following methods: select by value, select by text, select by visible text. Okay, then select by index. Okay, select by index. Then, in order to check, these drop downs can be single select or multi select. So, in order to check that, I have a method is multiple method in order to check if this particular drop down is a single select or multi select. Also, we can deselect the drop down. How? Using the following methods. To deselect, we have methods like deselect by index and deselect by value, deselect by visible text, okay, and deselect all. Okay, we have these methods, but this deselection can be done only for multi-select, multi-select drop down. Okay, deselect can be done only for multi-select drop down. That we have to explain. How do you handle drop downs? You start with, in order to handle drop downs, we have a select class. In select class is present in selenium.support package. We have selenium.support package and we have select by value, select by visible text, select by index methods in order to select this particular drop downs. And is multiple is a method which is used to check if that particular drop down is a single select or multi select. And also we have methods to deselect a drop down like deselect by value, deselect by index, deselect by visible text, and deselect all. Okay. Then, but deselection can be done only for multi-select drop-downs. If you try to perform deselection for single select drop-down, we get unsupported operation exception. This much you have to tell. Okay. Then, after drop-downs, what we have learned, guys? Scroll bar. Scroll bar. How do you handle scroll bar? You have to tell I handle scroll bar using JavaScript executor. Executor, you have to tell this is an interface. Okay, using JavaScript executor interface, you have to explain the steps. First, we have to typecast. We have to typecast driver to JavaScript executor. Then second, we have to use method. We have to use a method called execute script. Execute script method in order to perform scroll actions. Okay, I have given you 3 types of this execute script type. If you tell that, that is an added advantage. Just write execute script window scroll by attributes. You can give x and y coordinates. Okay. Otherwise, execute script uh, arguments arguments 0 dot arguments 0 dot scroll into view. Scroll into view within the bracket true, and here you have to give element. If you explain these two things also, actually generally only this one will be taught in normal Selenium. This is advanced part. If you explain this will be an added advantage, guys. Okay, this much you have to explain. You have to explain how do you handle scroll bar. Scroll bar can be handled using JavaScript executor interface. In first, we have to typecast the driver element, WebDriver element to JavaScript executor, and we have to use a method called execute script. In execute script also we have different variations. I know two of the variations. One is execute script within the braces window dot scroll by and xy coordinates I'll pass. And we have execute script within the execute script, and within the parenthesis I can give arguments of 0 dot scroll into view, and I will pass element reference. That much you can explain. Okay. Then fifth one is how do you take screenshot? So I handle screenshot using takes screenshot interface. Okay. In take screenshot interface, again explain the two steps we did. Okay. Typecast driver to take screenshot interface reference. Then use method get screenshot as. Okay. Now in order to save this particular screenshot, we will be using libraries called Apache Commons, not Poi. Apache Commons IO libraries we use, and we will save using fileutils class. Using fileutils class, we will be saving the screenshot. This much you have to explain, guys. These three steps. Okay. Understood? Guys, understood? Okay, this is for screenshot. Then frames. How do you handle frames? Okay, in order to handle frames, you can give we use driver dot switch to dot frame within the bracket index I can give, or attribute name or ID name I can give. You can say like that, driver dot switch to dot frame. In order to switch back from frame, driver dot switch to dot default content. You can, if you give those two statements, that is more than enough. Okay, for frames it is driver dot switch to dot frame. Within this you can say I can either give index or attribute. Index or ID or name attribute you can give. Okay. In order to switch back from frame, I can give driver dot switch to dot default content. This much you can explain. Okay. Then seventh one is how do you handle windows? How do you handle Windows? Same thing again. Driver dot switch to dot window, and within this we have to give window type tab. If you want a separate window only, not tab, separate window only if you want, driver dot switch to dot window window type. Window type is window. Okay. Guys, did I tell you any new window, all those things? Did I tell you that?
No, ma'am, only these two only you have told.
These two I have told, right? Okay, explain these two things. Okay. Then, after Windows, what I have explained you guys? In second chapter? Pop-ups. Remaining everything is covered, right? In second chapter? Okay. Pop-ups. So you have to say what is a pop-up. What is a pop-up? Pop-up is the window which appears on the screen. Okay. How do you we have, and after what is pop-up, you have to say types of pop-ups. Okay. In types of pop-ups also, please don't mention file download pop-up, because in any website, if you observe in any website, if you try to click on a link, it will it is not showing any pop-up. Instead, it is directly downloading it. Correct. So that is the reason we are not I have just not given you file download, because I could not find any example. For many days I was searching such that I wanted you to show file download pop-up, but I could not find. Whatever the link I am clicking, it is automatically downloading it without giving any pop-up. So that is the reason I have not explained you about file download pop-up. If the interviewer asks you the same, in previous versions of Chrome and all, we used to get a file download pop-up, but nowadays in the newer versions, we are not getting any pop-up. From Windows 10 onwards, we are not getting any file download pop-up. So just I will inspect that particular link using find element and I will download it. I will click on that, which automatically downloads. You can say that. Understood, guys? Did you understand? Okay, different pop-ups is alert pop-up, alert or JavaScript or confirmation pop-up. Okay, so how do you, this is the pop-up. So in alert pop-up, you can either tell the characteristics of this alert pop-up. That is not mandatory, but you have to say how do you handle this alert pop-up. I handle this alert pop-up using driver dot switch to dot alert method. So if I wanted to click on OK, I will click what, guys? Accept. I will give accept method. If I want to click on cancel, I will give dismiss method. If I wanted to pass the text, I will just use send keys method. Okay. I will use send keys method. Okay. And if I wanted to click, I can just use click method. Click or clear also we can use. Correct, guys? Can we use clear method? Okay. These methods I will use in combination to handle this particular pop-up. Okay. Then second pop-up we have is, what is the second pop-up? Hidden division or calendar pop-up. calendar pop-up. How do you handle this one? I handle calendar pop-up using find element method. Okay. Then third one. Third one is what, guys?
Child browser pop-up.
Child browser pop-up. How do you handle child browser pop-up? So in order to handle this child browser pop-up, we have get window handle and get window handles. Okay. In order to handle this child browser pop-ups, we'll have get window handles and get window handle and get window handles. Now tell why these methods are used. Get window handle is used to get the parent browser's address, whereas get window handles gets both parent and child browser reference addresses. Okay, so this you have to tell. Then fourth one. Then fourth pop-up is child browser. After child browser, what we have? File upload. File upload pop-up. So file upload pop-up can be handled using auto IT. Correct? File upload pop-up is handled using auto IT. Then now tell what is auto IT. Auto IT is a third party tool which we integrate with our Selenium in order to handle. Okay, auto IT is a third party tool which automates standalone application. Okay, this particular tool we will be integrating with Selenium in order to handle this file upload pop-up. Understood? That much if you say enough. No need of code. Then, yeah, also send keys. Send keys. When you use send keys also you have to tell. So whenever we have type is equal to file as attribute, that in that case we will be using send keys directly and we will be passing the file path. Okay, that you have to tell. So two ways to handle file upload pop-up. One is send keys when we have type is equal to file attribute. Second one is auto IT. Auto IT is a third party tool which automates standalone applications. Which automates standalone applications. Okay, so we integrate this auto IT with Selenium in order to handle this file upload pop-up. Okay, and fifth one is notification. Notification pop-up. So how do you handle notification pop-up? In order to handle this notification pop-up, we have browser specific. We have browser specific classes. Okay, what are those? For Chrome. For Chrome, we have Chrome options. Then for Firefox, we have Firefox options. Okay, so in order to disable a notification using these classes, we will be using, we'll create a reference to these classes. So steps, we create reference to these classes. Then second thing is using that reference dot add arguments method. We use add arguments method, and this is how we handle the pop-up. Understood, guys? In these arguments also I will pass disable disable notification. Notifications. This one I pass. Understood, guys? So this much if you explain, that is more than enough. That mic test was interview question just asked when I was explaining you that particular notification pop-up. That's why I have given you. Okay, even if you don't explain that also fine, because there are n number of things in Selenium. It is like an ocean. So even if you don't explain that, that is fine. Okay, this much if you explain, more than enough. Understood, guys? So when they ask you about file download pop-up, what about file download pop-up? Then you say, I will handle it using find element method, because nowadays we are not getting newer versions of browsers. We are newer versions of Windows or browsers. We are not getting this particular file download pop-up. Instead, I can inspect the element using find element, and I will use click method in order to click on this particular element such that file will be downloaded automatically. That much you have to say. Okay, guys. Is that fine? Okay. Generally, we use robot class. For your information, generally we use robot class. Okay. This robot class is available in java.awt package. java.awt package. This I have not explained because I am not getting the file download pop-up only. How will I explain you? Correct. So in order to explain, I have to give some practical example, but I could not find this file download pop-up in any website or any file such that I could not explain you this, guys, because I wanted to show everything practically. I could not do this. Okay. So you can just carry on telling this answer. Okay. Yes. Next, after poppers. So this is where our second chapter ends, right? Correct? Yes. Chapter 3. In chapter 3, first one is data driven testing. They will ask you what is data driven testing. Just give me a second, guys. So what is data driven testing? What do you know about data driven testing will be the common question. So what is data driven testing? Data driven testing is nothing but retrieving data from external resources like property files or Excel files and using it in the test scripts for test execution is called data driven testing. Correct? Then why we go for data driven testing? We go for data driven testing because it is the automation rule that we should not hard code the data. Okay. It is the automation rule that we should not hard code the data, which is why we store the data in external resources and we'll be using it in our test scripts. Okay. Then what are the different data driven testing you saw? Okay. Types. So in types you have to explain properties file. Properties file. So properties file is one of the file. In properties file we store data in the form. In properties file we store data in the form of key value pair. Okay. And Java has its own library to handle this properties file. Okay. Java libraries are sufficient for this properties file. So that is the reason we will store common data. Did I tell you about different types of data, guys? That is why we store common data in properties file, because it is faster to fetch. Okay. Then Excel file. Common data means you have to tell what are the common data, like URL configuration data will be storing in properties file. Then Excel file. In Excel file, everything is stored in table format. And for this we need Apache POI libraries. Okay. So we store test script specific data. Test data will be storing. Test data in the sense test script specific data will be storing in Excel file, because it is in organized manner. So which is why we'll be storing in Excel file. Okay, in properties file, it is not organized. Everything is stored in key value pairs. So, but in Excel file, it is stored in table format, which is very organized. That is the reason we store test data in Excel file. This much you have to explain. Okay. Then, after that, they might or might not ask the codes, but I will not ask you to write the codes. So in drives and all, they might ask you to write the code for this properties file. So explain each and every step like I have given you. Okay. Tomorrow's mock, I will not be asking the codes, but in drives, they may be asking the codes. You have to explain each and every line what I have given you. Okay guys, like converting physical file into Java readable object. Then after creating instance for properties file, suppose creating an instance for properties class. This properties class is available in java.util package. Okay, then after that we have to load the file into Selenium project. We do that by using p.load method. Okay, then we will fetch the data using get property. Okay, and in order to write data, what we will do, guys, in order to write data is not important. Get property is important. Then in Excel file, what we'll do, first we have to convert physical file into Java readable object. Then we have to open the workbook. Using workbook, WB is equal to workbook factory dot create FIS. Okay. Then after that we have to get the control over the sheet using sheet is equal to WB dot get sheet. Then we have to get the control over that particular row. Row is equal to sheet dot get row. Then we have to get the control over particular cell in order to fetch the data. So cell is equal to row dot get cell. Then after that we have to get the value from the cell. So we will do that using get string cell value if it is a string. If we have numeric value, then we have to say get numeric cell value. Okay. Data formatter, if you are confident about that, you can explain. Otherwise, omit. No need. Did I explain you data formatter, guys? Yes? Data formatter, did I explain you?
No, ma'am. I think so.
Some says yes, some says no. I have explained, I think. Just check, guys. Okay, if you are not confident about data formatter, please don't choose them. Okay, no? Okay, fine. If I have not explained, then it is okay. No problem at all. Okay? I have explained. Okay. Okay, guys, whatever. If you are not confident about that, No worries, don't explain. Okay.
Ma'am, what is data formatter? You have explained reading the data from the Excel and writing the data from the Excel and reading the data from property file and writing the data into the property file. But what is data formatter, ma'am?
Data formatter in the sense, suppose whenever if I say get numeric cell value, sometimes we will get double value. It will always present double value. So, but I want the data which is there exactly. If I am giving 10 in my Excel sheet, if I use get numeric cell value, I will get 10.0. I will get this double value. But if I wanted to get exact value, then I will go for data formatter. So data formatter is also available in Apache POI libraries only. Data formatter is a class which is available in Apache POI libraries. Okay. Don't worry about this. You will be learning in advanced Selenium anyhow. Okay. Yes. So this much you have to explain. Data-driven testing. What is data-driven testing? Why data-driven testing? What are the types of external resources you have used? So like properties file and Excel file. In properties file, the data is stored in the form of key value pair, and library in Java libraries are sufficient to handle this properties file, and we store common data in this. Common data in the sense all the data like configuration data and URL, login credentials, all this common data will be storing. Okay. Then Excel file. In Excel file, the data is stored in the form of table format. Okay. And we use Apache POI libraries in order to fetch data from Excel file, in order to perform actions on Excel file. And test data is stored in this particular Excel file because Excel file is way more organized than properties file. Okay, this is what you have to explain. Okay, then second one is, and you have to also explain the advantages. Advantages. After explaining this, you have to explain advantages also. Advantages of data-driven testing you have to explain. Then second one is POM. What is POM? POM stands for Page Object Model. Okay, you have to say what it stands for. Okay, what is POM? It stands for Page Object Model. Page Object Model. Then you have to say what is POM. Okay, what is repository? What is repo? Okay, what is POM? Then why POM? Why POM? In order to, in agile process, due to frequent requirement changes, okay, I will start from here. POM stands for Page Object Model. It is an object repository. It is an object repository. Object repository is nothing but it is the collection of elements and locators, web elements and their locators and respective business libraries. Okay. Then what is POM then? POM is nothing but it is one of the Java design patterns preferred by Google in order to develop an object repository. Okay, why we go for POM? Why we need this object repository or POM? Because we need object repository in order to such that we can in agile process due to the frequent GUI changes, the references of the elements might change very frequently. So in that particular case, if we use this POM design pattern, it will be easy for us to modify the elements. Okay, so that's why we use POM. Okay, then what are advantages of POM? Advantages of POM. First thing you have to say, stale element reference exception. Stale element reference exception it handles. Then modification of elements is easy. Maintenance of elements and libraries are easy. That you have to say. Okay, then you can explain stale element reference exception. Stale element reference exception is nothing but whenever we are declaring the same element again and we are trying to access an element whose whose address is expired, then we get stale element reference exception. For example, if I access an element, suppose say Google page example, you can say, suppose if I open a Google page, if I try to access the search bar first and again if I refresh the page and try to access the same search bar using same old reference, it will give me stale element reference exception. Okay, so this tail element reference exception is handled in POM, that you have to tell. Then after that, three stages. We have three stages in POM: declaration, initialization, utilization. Okay. In declaration, we use annotation find by, and we use private keyword to declare the element. Then in initialization, we call a constructor. Parameterized constructor, P constructor, I read. Parameterized constructor, which takes WebDriver as argument, and it has, and we use page factory. We use page factory.init elements to initialize elements. Then utilization. Here is where we provide business libraries. Understood, guys? These many things you have to explain. So what is POM? If I ask, POM stands for Page Object Model. It is a page object model. It is used to develop a object repository. What is object repository means? It is the collection of elements, locators, and respective business libraries. Okay. POM is a special Java design pattern which is preferred by Google in order to develop an object repository. Why we go for this POM is, in Agile, due to frequent requirement changes, GUI might change frequently. With the frequent GUI changes, the element addresses also change frequently. So in order to handle that situation, if we create this page object model, if we utilize this page object model, object repository, then it will be easy for us to make the necessary changes whenever GUI change. Okay. Then advantages of POM. We have several advantages of POM, like it handles stale element reference exception. So that means whenever we try to access an element repeatedly after after reloading the page, whenever we try to access an element after reloading the page, it gives stale element reference exception. Okay. Modification of elements is easy. Maintenance of all the elements are also easy. We have three stages in POM. Declaration. Using annotation find by and private keyword, we will be declaring the element. So we'll be locating as well as declaring the element. Then next stage is initialization. We call the parameterized constructor of that particular POM page, of that particular web page, and it takes WebDriver as argument. Here we use page factory.init elements in order to initialize the elements. Then utilization. Utilization is nothing but here is where we give respective business libraries. That much you have to explain. Then third one, test ng. So test ng. So test ng stands for test, next, generation. What is TestNG? TestNG is an unit testing tool used by the developers for white box testing. Then why automation engineers are using it? Okay, automation engineers are using it for batch execution of their framework. For batch execution of their framework. Okay, why we use TestNG? Because it is an organized way. Uh, it why in the sense I have already answered. No, batch execution. For batch execution, automation engineers will be using this particular tool. Okay, then advantages. Advantages means it is an open source tool, so you can easily download and install free of cost. Second thing is priority. We can set priority to the test cases. So what is the default priority, guys?
0, ma'am.
0. The default priority is 0. Okay. So if we have same priority, then if we give same priority to the test cases, then it will consider the ASCII values of the annotation test method names. Okay, it will consider the ASCII value of annotation test method names and accordingly it executes. Okay, then invocation count. What is invocation count? In order to run the test case repeatedly, we give invocation count. The default invocation count is 1. If the invocation count is 0 or less, it will not consider the execution of that particular test case. Okay. Many of the interviewers doesn't know. Interviewers in the sense in test and trials, they don't know. They say it will skip the test cases. Guys, be very particular. If needed, you can also show them the example which I have shown you. Okay, but don't argue them hard. Okay, then enabled is equal to false. In order to disable the test case, we use enabled is equal to false. Then we can also run test cases sequentially. How do we run test cases sequentially? Select all the test cases, convert them to testng file and run that .xml file. Okay, then we can do parallel execution. In parallel execution, we have distributed parallel execution and cross-browser parallel execution. Distributed parallel execution means we will be distributing the test cases equally to different test tags such that it saves the execution time. Whereas cross-browser execution means we will be giving the same set of test cases to different browsers. How can we achieve cross-browser execution? Again, using parameter tag in XML file, and we should also use annotation parameter in our actual test script before the test script. Okay, that is parallel execution. That much you have to explain. Then after that, what else, guys? We can generate reports. HTML reports are generated automatically in TestNG. Then what else, guys? Assertions. Yeah, annotations. Annotations I forgot. Annotations are the main things, right? So annotations. Annotations in TestNG are used to control the flow of execution. Then we have assertions. So what is assertion? Assertions are the validations which we use in TestNG. Why we go for assertions? Because normal if statement does not have the capability to fail the test case. Which is why we go for assertions. In assertions, we have again two types, hard assert and soft assert. Okay, we have to explain briefly. Hard assert. So if I ask what is TestNG, you have to cover all these points briefly. Okay. So if they ask you particularly, then you have to explain. What is assertion means? Allegations, and we have two types of assertions: hard assert and soft assert. Hard assert means you can explain that story whenever we give hard assert. The hard assert in particular block, if the assertion fails, then it will not execute the remaining lines in the block. It will jump to next block. Whereas soft assert, in soft assert, if we give soft assert in particular block, it will, though assertion error occurs, the remaining lines of the block gets executed, but still it throws assertion error. Okay, so this much you can say. Okay, then annotations. Annotations, I told no. Annotations are used for controlled execution flow. Okay, that much you have to explain. Guys, important differences. So about fourth chapter, they might not be asking many things. Okay, important differences. Okay, first one, close method and quit method. Okay, second one, find element and find elements. Third one, get window handle and get window handles. Okay, then fourth one, find element and annotation find by. Then fifth one, what are all the topics we have? Hard assert and soft assert. Sixth one, click method and submit method. So these are the important differences you can expect in interview. Okay. So do you know the differences, guys? Close and quit, I told you already. Find element and find elements. Find element is used to locate a single element. Find elements is used to locate list of elements. So the return type of find element is web element, whereas the return type of find elements is list of web elements. Okay, if it is not able to find the element, it will throw no such element exception. If it is not able to find the elements, then it will throw empty array. It will not throw exception, it will give empty array. Did I give these differences, guys? Did I give these differences? Okay. Then get window handle and get window handles. Get window handle is used to get the parent browser address. Get window handle is used to get both child and the parent window addresses. Get window handle return type is string, whereas get window handles return type is set of string. Okay, only two differences are there. Find element and annotation find by. In find element, it is used only to locate the element, whereas annotation find by is used to locate as well as declare the element. Only that much is the difference. It also locates, it also declares. Okay, hard assert, soft assert. Just we have discussed. And click and submit also we have discussed. These are the important differences you might expect this question in interview. Okay, and guys, did I miss anything? Please tell me. Okay. These many things they'll be asking in interviews, and this is how you have to answer. Now you got the clarity, guys. Okay, Jyoti. Okay, this particular PDF, I'll be posting it in the group. You just go through it and please go through the flow and answer answer the way I told you. If you answer in the way I have told you, whatever the interview you face, you will be selected. You'll be selected without doubt. Okay? Yes, guys. You know all the concepts, but you are speaking like bits and pieces. That will not work. Okay, so that is the reason I have conducted this session, and I think many of them has not attended the session. I don't worry or care about those people. Okay, and thanks for attending this session, guys. So yes, did you all understand? Yes. Okay, guys. And all of you should be placed within your first interview itself. Let me explain the situation. The situation outside is very, very, very bad. Recession is hitting very hard. I want you guys to be placed as fast as possible. Even the first, if you get, even the package is low. Okay, whatever, even the package is low. If you are getting, even you are getting posted to some other places, so please grab the opportunity. After 2 months, you might be getting the requirements, but the competition will also be more because this recession is stopping many people from applying to the jobs, right? So everybody suddenly they will apply to the jobs. That will be even more difficult. Okay, so if you can grab the opportunity now, first thing you will get the job. You will get, though the pay is low, you will get the job, and you can after 1 year or 6 months you can shift to the company with double hike. Okay, you can just tell them what all you have learned, and and you can say you got the job in the recession time, so you can just demand. Okay, so guys, whatever you are facing, the first interview should be the last interview. You have to get through the jobs. That is my sincere suggestion. Okay, don't take it easily. Okay, guys. Yes. Uh, and yes, that's all, guys. So, do you have any doubts? Okay, guys. Then prepare well. Tomorrow we shall see the mock, and I will finally